What's up, Justin Willoughby? Here we are again. This is part 3 of Food Consume Me, How I Overcame Food Addiction, and today we're talking about recognizing the signs. And a lot of times we can be in denial. I don't have a food addiction. I have a food addiction. Some of us, if we even hear somebody say that to us, or even if we try to think about it ourselves, we easily dismiss it and say, no way, I don't have a food addiction. That's not me. I'm not like that. I can live without food. Yeah, for 2 hours. And then we complain the rest of the day. Have you ever tried fasting all day? Woo! That can be difficult if you have a food addiction, okay? But a few questions we can ask ourselves to see if we potentially might have an addiction to food would be, do you find yourself getting lost in the thought of food? I mean, do you lay at bed all night and think, what am I going to have tomorrow? Maybe you even get up out of bed when you're not even hungry, and you go out and you make a sandwich or whatever. You go out and have something that you don't really need because you're not really hungry, but you can't get it off your mind, so you go to it. Maybe you can ask yourself, do you find yourself going to food to relieve stress? Are we stress eaters? Does food take that stress away? Or when we're depressed, does food take that depression away? Do we go to that as our crutch? That's a question you can ask yourself. Do you complain and get mad when you have no food? Some of us, if we don't have something in the house that we really enjoy, that we really like, that tickles our taste buds, we get bent out of shape about it. We start getting upset and frustrated and moody, irritable. That happens sometimes. Or another question you can ask yourself, can you focus on something or someone when food is around? I had trouble with all those things, especially that last one. When there's like a nice cake around or something like that, and there's like a room of people, it's at a party, I am totally focused on that cake if I'm not careful. If I don't put food in its rightful place, I'll go in the party, and I'll be able to hang out with people, but I'll be looking at that cake the whole time, eyeing it up. Gotta have some of that. Hurry up with the conversation. I don't want to talk to you. I want food. I'll be walking to it. I'll be getting some, and I just have to have it. Like that was my mindset with the addiction that I have. I'm going to say I had, not have. I don't want it anymore. I'm not taking ownership of that. That I had. So that was me. I remember coming home from school. And after a long day, of school, I'd come home off the bus. I would walk right to the kitchen. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. No hug or kiss, though. And I would go right to the kitchen, and I would go eat whatever I could to make myself feel satisfied and full, and then help me be better the rest of the day until dinner, of course. Dinner time was right like 2 hours from there. So I would gorge myself at that moment and have dinner later. I needed food. I wanted it. I longed for it all day. It was a real addiction. I remember my mom coming home at times, maybe a little later than she usually does or did from work. Like she stayed an extra half hour or something. She had an errand to run. She comes home a half hour later than she normally would to get dinner ready. I remember when she wasn't home on time, I would get really frustrated and really mad. I would throw tantrums. What do you mean you're going to be a half hour late? What do you mean dinner's not ready yet? All those things. Like I was just very irritable. And so the addiction was happening. Can we say addiction? I think so. I'm going to say that was an addiction. So is this you? Do you get mad? Do you get miserable when there's no food around? Or do you get mad when there's no food around? Are you upset when you can't have that food that you want? When there's no food around, are you angry? All these things you got to ask yourself. And I want you to understand, now is a time to recognize these signs of addiction. Now is the time to take charge and say, you know what, that might be me. That might be me who has that addiction problem. And if that's you, it's time to recognize that. So I encourage you, a practical application I can give you today would be get some help. It's okay to get medical help. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart, because I had to have that in my life. And also, I'd like you to check out my ebook, Food Consume Me, How I Overcame Food Addiction, at justinwilloughby.com. Check it out. You can actually purchase the ebook on there and learn more about this and how I overcame that addiction, and how I'm no longer a slave to that addiction, but I'm an owner. I take ownership of that addiction. Remember, it all starts with one step.